Hello, welcome. In this video, I want to share with you the story of Naupaka. Naupaka, which is the green shrub you see in this video, is very common in Hawaii. It grows in coastal areas as well as mountainous areas. And there's a love story in a Hawaiian legend concerning this plant that I would like to share with you now. Something that's unique about Naupaka is that it has flowers that grow blossoms only on one side, as you can see here. In this video, you'll also see me using Naupaka dye to add color to a dress that I'm also going to make in this video. So here we go. The story of Naupaka. There was a woman named Kapaka and a man named Nanao. And these were two people who were very similar. They had a love for the land, a love for nature. They were very gentle and kind people. And they spent a lot of time together, just taking care of the land. Eventually, as they spent more and more time together, they fell in love. They spent their days together, just caring for the plants and flowers around them, and just treating the land with lots of aloha. Well, as their love progressed, they ran into a problem. Kaale, who is the goddess of the volcano in Hawaiian mythology. She has a very fiery temperament, of course, given who she is. And she heard about this love between Kapaka and Nanao, and she began to feel jealous. She wanted the love for herself. She wanted Nanao for herself. But he was already in love with Kapaka, and they were both very deeply in love. Because of this, Pele vowed to turn their love into ash, essentially. Well, when they learned of this, of her anger, Nanao and Kapaka knew they had to escape. And eventually, they decided to separate. Nanao fled to the mountains while Kapaka went to the shore near the beach. And there are different versions of the story. In one version, it said that before they parted, Kapaka took the flower that she was wearing in her hair, a white flower, and she tore it in half. And she gave one half of the flower to Nanao, and she kept the other half for herself. And then they parted ways. Well, one of Pele's sisters, whose name is Laka, she learned of what was going on, and she felt very sorry for this couple. She felt sorry for Nanao and Kapaka. She saw that they were in love, and she just wanted to protect them from her sister's fury. She knew that her sister could be very temperamental and dangerous, so she wanted to protect this innocent couple from Pele. So before Pele was able to find them and, turn them into ash out of her jealous rage, Laka used her powers to change the two lovers into the flowering plant that we know now as Naupaka, which is a combination of their names, Nanao and Kapaka. Although she was able to save them from Pele's wrath, they still had to be apart forever. So today, Naupaka grows in the mountains as well as along the shoreline. And on each of the the flowers that grow on Naupaka, the blooms, the petals grow only on one side. So on mountain Naupaka, the blooms grow on the top half, and on beach Naupaka, they grow on the bottom half of the flower. And legend has it that if you combine these two sides of a flower and put them together, then Nanau and Kapaka will finally be reunited. So that's the story of Naupaka, which if you're in Hawaii or visit Hawaii, you may see it. It's very common, and we use it to dye fabric. It's actually one of my favorite plants to dye fabric with. It produces a green color. The green color can range in shades. It can be a bright, almost lime green, to a deep sage green, which is actually my favorite color, the deep green sage. So the results will just depend on, the intensity of the dye. We boil the leaves first and then put it in a jar and dye our fabric in the sun. So it'll depend on the intensity of the dye as well as the heat, the amount of sunlight it gets. So you saw me make a very simple pullover dress earlier in the video. And now we're going to remove the dress as well as another piece of material after 1 week of it being outside in the jar, the Naupaka dye in a jar in the sun. Typically, I will leave fabrics in dye for a week. However, sometimes I take them out after 3 or 4 days. If it doesn't look like the color will be any more intense than it is after 3 or 4 days. So now the fabric used to make this dress and the fabric piece that my daughter is going to show you, these are both linen cotton blends. We typically only use cotton, and sometimes we do, depending on what we find when we're sourcing our materials, we will use a blend, cotton and linen perhaps. Most of our materials are repurposed cotton or just repurposed natural fibers. Natural plant fibers is our preference. So we had these bundled up pretty well, so we're unwrapping them, and you'll be able to see what kind of color we were able to achieve with these materials. This first piece is just a square piece of fabric. So you can see the color. There are areas of dark green, and then the overall piece is a light green color, which doesn't really show very well in the video. And the coverage of the dye just depends on how tightly you had it bundled and things like that. So now here's the dress that you saw me make earlier in the video. This one seemed to get a little bit more color than the material. So yeah, we use Naupaka plants all the time. We have them near where we live, so we're just able to forage them and produce dye to create a nice green color for our textiles. So that's all I have for now, but I hope you will return for more videos. Thanks for watching. Aloha.